Yup, it's finally here. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Barrier Breach. We are on our 5th installment of the series, yes, clap it up, and we've done what, 5 so far? That's actually insane. And it's on the highly anticipated puppet combo fan favorite, Murder House. There's a lot of things to go over, so let's not waste any time. The very first thing we're met with when starting Murder House is of course this brief intro segment where our player sits on the lap of the Easter Ripper and takes a photo. This little area is placed not too far from the mall area, which is right over there. I always thought that this intro was located in the mall where there is already a booth set up, but I guess not. I figured this is the only way to get that really darked out look for the background. I really tried my hardest to tweak the settings and lighting to see how this shaded out model looks like, but I unfortunately couldn't. But if I had to guess, this is probably a woman. Other than that, there's not anything that different from the actual photo booth we see later in the mall. I was able to remove the head of the Easter Ripper, which was funny, and I also did the same for the rest of the body, leaving behind just a floating head. Finally, here's the Easter Ripper and Justin together while they pose for the photo. So yeah, really small and quick overview of this separate environment, and now let's move on to the mall. So I don't know what it is with this game, but I was not able to get the darkness fog feature thing disabled. So unfortunately, these overhead shots of the entire mall are a little bit skewed, but that's okay because this effect only happens when we get really far away. I just wanted to show you all where everything is and how far apart they are from each other. You might actually notice that the house environment is placed slightly higher and farther away from everything else. But don't worry, I will tackle the house area right after we finish going over the mall. Kicking things off with our boy Justin, you might notice that something's off. Yeah, his whole dome piece is missing. This was something I saw with Rachel's model as well. Go watch the Night Ripper Barrier Breach if you haven't already. And I'm pretty sure this is just a tactic developers use to prevent any unnecessary clipping or visual glitches during gameplay when using first person. It's actually pretty common in other games as well. Chances are if you're playing a first person game, your model might not even have a head. Besides all that, let's add some more lighting and begin our breach of the barrier. I know many of you have played this already and don't need me showing you every little detail one by one, but I still figured we'd look at how the mall looks when it's not completely engulfed in darkness. I know Puppet Combo does a good job of creating liminal spaces, but this mall area is definitely one of their best examples of this. It's a shame that everything is mostly turned into shadows as you pass along the mall, but wow guys, I mean take a second to feel the vibe on some of these shots. So here is the original Easter Ripper photo booth that I mentioned earlier. I think it's quite cool finally getting able to see this section of the mall with actual lights, as it adds a sense of depth that I previously wasn't aware of. Look at this guys, what a beautiful little booth. Oh yeah, don't think I forgot. During your playthrough you might have noticed the Easter Ripper making a few appearances while you're running through the mall. As usual, I was able to yoink these models back into the map and show you all how they look like up close. It's not really anything that special, but I love getting close to things that game developers don't want us getting close to or seeing for long periods of time. His feet are clipping into the ground, but this was most likely done so that the Easter Ripper just barely pokes out when you as a player make your way to the top of the booth. Of course, there was one more example of this which isn't too far away, and it's basically the same thing. I was low-key getting creeped out because it felt so cursed having these models here when they're not supposed to be. I mean, look at this angle. What a creepy shot. So yeah, hella weird having these Easter Rippers here, but hey, that's what I aim to do when doing these barrier breaches. I think it's very cool seeing things that aren't supposed to be seen. Closing off the mall area is the hallways, storage room, locker room, janitor room area. I don't know what the f this is called. The damn back section of the mall. I don't know, but yeah, let's go over this. So I wanted to start this section with something really cool that I found during my time exploring this map. I know you're all aware that you actually get chased by the Easter Ripper in this very hallway, but what you might not have known is that the Easter Ripper is placed right here the entire time. Yes, even when you first boot up the game, he's posted up right here, ready to hunt your cheeks down, waiting for the right time for you to walk by and strike. Something about the Easter Ripper just waiting patiently for the player for minutes on end is slightly comedic to me. It's not even like he's frozen. He has his whole idle animation and everything. I know his hand tired from holding that heavy sickle for hella long. Sticking with the Easter Ripper, here's how this part of the game looks like from far out. Really sorry about the wacky camera movement. The zoom feature was messing with the free cam, but I still managed to get some decent footage of the Easter Ripper in the bathroom. When the Easter Ripper leaves, he makes it a few steps into the next room before despawning. Finally, we have the Easter Ripper going through the storage room. I usually skedaddle on out of here the second I hear the Ripper enter this room, but now we can finally see how this looks like from a top-down perspective. I got caught unfortunately, but at least it kinda shows us how this animation looks like. Closing off the entire mall section is of course the last part of the intro sequence. I was hoping we would get a chance to see Janitor Jack leave the room, but he sorta just despawns very quickly while our camera cuts. When the lights do eventually go out, we can see that the Easter Ripper's model is placed right beside the door out of view. This model can be seen very briefly when looking out the window, and now we can see how it looks like once the animation finishes. Another really cool thing too is the fact that a different model is used for when the Easter Ripper makes his way inside your room. I literally had no idea that the Easter Ripper actually walks across the room and makes it to your door, since I usually hide right away. I just love how there's a whole animation for this, even though 99% of players would never actually see it. Another model of the Ripper was used to activate the jump scare that sends us off into the main part of the game. I thought I was just going to very quickly pan through the mall area just to show you all for the sake of showing everything, but I genuinely forgot just how much detail and vibe was packed into this brief prologue. Not only does the actual mall feel so much different to look at, but even the parts we don't see for too long are so interesting to me. The Easter Ripper making his way through the storage room and janitor room are both things I didn't even think of when playing, and being able to watch it unfold like this adds so much to the love I already have for this game. We're stuck in the house for most of the game, so it's quite easy to forget this intro section, but hopefully this was able to make it a lot more memorable to you all. So we make it to the main part of the game. The characters start off in a van back here and make their way towards the house. There's no road past what we get to see as expected. Other than that, there's not much else to show here besides the outside of the house and the greenhouse. I was able to get inside the van with everyone and got this pretty cool shot. One funny thing is that Emma and Dana don't have any seats and aren't sitting on anything. The same kind of goes for Gary and Tom. Well, they have seats, but it kind of looks like they're clipping into the van. Oh wait, they are. Bruh. So I first wanted to kick off this section by showing you all the Easter Ripper while he makes his way around the house. Unfortunately, this villain doesn't actually patrol the house the entirety of the time. The Easter Ripper only appears to spawn in randomly while the player is out in the main area, so not the safe room or the lair room. It was kinda hard to get good footage of him. Despite this, I still played and waited for long periods of time just so that I could get him to spawn in and I can show you all what he does off camera. So the Easter Ripper behaves like many of the puppet combo villains you've seen before. When not targeting the player, they tend to just roam around, entering and exiting rooms as they please. I did manage to catch the Easter Ripper teleporting from this place, but this is not an ability he has, but rather just a simple despawn mechanic since I as a player was really far away from him at this point. I know I've done this a few times already, but there's something different about watching the Easter Ripper wandering this house. More than other games, this is actually one that despawns the villain when not in view for a while, so having these shots of the Easter Ripper when he's not chasing you feels extremely odd. Again, here you can see him enter the lair and poof, he just vanishes. Really quick, here's the animation of him yoinking Emma out of the closet. So yeah guys, other than that, that's pretty much it for him. I was really hoping he was spawned in the entire time, but he only spawns in when you hear a door open or close. So let's move on to the actual house. Now this game isn't as big scaled as let's say Stay Out of the House, so there aren't too many secrets and off-camera things to show you all, but I still managed to find some cool stuff. Also, out of all games I've barrier breached so far, this game definitely benefits the most from having added lights and more visual clarity, since of course, this house is dark as f. So yeah guys, I just wanted to— Blindfire, shut up! Let them watch. Okay, my bad, my bad. So something very cool that I found was this original Easter Ripper lair that was the first model created before being updated to the one we see used in game. I ended up removing the new lair and replacing it with the old one, and now I'm pretty sure this is the first time anyone is ever seeing what this place was supposed to look like. You can see how this model came with some questionable additions, like the skeleton in weird positions and the row of toys. Here is the other door that would have led to the ladders, which brings us up to the greenhouse, so this was basically almost finished. I'm sure at some point, maybe Puppet Combo felt like they could have improved on the area greatly, and well, they did, because the newer version we see in game is a lot larger and more detailed. Before we go to the post-credit gameplay, here's just some really cool footage of the entire map with the whole cast that spawns after beating the game. Finally, we make it to the very last part of the game, which is the post-credit exploration. There is only one thing worth going over, and that's the 2 trailers that spawn in that hold Gary and Dana. So the rooms for these trailers are placed right here beside the staircase going down to the basement. I honestly had no idea it would be placed right here, but hey, next time you play Murder House, just know that every time you walk down these stairs, Gary and Dana are secretly chilling in their trailers right beside you. Oh, and wait, one more thing. There are these boxes spread throughout the map that usually hold some model. In this one, you can see ghost children, which I believe were used for those quick jump scares that happen in the house, as well as this one with the Easter Ripper. I believe this is a placeholder for him for when he's not in the house. Finally, we have the boxes that hold the animations for when our character Emma is killed. This is probably the easiest way to get this blacked out background effect, just as we've seen with the photo booth at the beginning of the game. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this edition of Barrier Breach. I feel like I say this every time, probably because I have, but this is definitely one of the most requested games that you guys wanted me to cover here on Barrier Breach. Surprisingly not as complicated and long as I thought it was going to be, but hey, it only makes it easier and quicker for me to edit and put it out for you all. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to drop a... Man, what the hell am I doing? Y'all do what y'all want. I love you all. I'm out this, guys. Peace.